Hello, my name is Bennett Walls, and this is my personal archaeological dig for EDMC 3100 with Dr. Kevin Cordy at Ohio University Southern. Now, my journey in reading and writing really advanced when I was in the third grade at South Point Elementary. That is where I found this book titled Thunderstorms by Jim Mezzanotte. And this is a very simple and easy read for someone in the third grade, as it's very well organized, very simple, uses a lot of pictures to depict how thunderstorms happen, where they happen, why they happen, and how to be safe during them. This was the first book I ever saw in a library that really flew off the shelves to me, and any interest I ever had in reading, I can trace back to this book, as it was the first time I ever saw something and said, wow, I really want to read that. Now, the next year, in fourth grade, I discovered the Diary of a Wimpy Kid franchise. This was the first time I ever had an interest in reading a chapter book. Before that, it had been smaller books, such as the Thunderstorms book. This was another turning point in my academic career, as I was able to read something and actually enjoy myself while reading it. I really liked this book because I could compare events that happened in the book to my life at the time, and I was able to advance my reading level, as these books were above my reading level at the time. That same year, during the fourth grade, I saw a huge advancement in my writing skills, as we can see with this assignment here. This is out of a language arts textbook, workbook, and this is an assignment on synonyms and antonyms. On the first part, you'd have a listed word, and you put the antonym for it. The main thing I noticed about this one is that it was done in cursive. I was one of the last classes that was taught cursive, and this is the last year that it was actively encouraged in our school. After that, we never really used it again. And just reading it, it's kind of a mess. I can barely make out what I was writing, but I can tell that this was a huge advancement from anything I had had before. Moving on to my middle school years, in the 7th grade, I read this book, Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life by James Patterson. This was also a book that at the time was a grade level above my reading level. And so a lot of my reading teachers actively encouraged me to read these kinds of books because I genuinely enjoyed them, and they advanced my reading skills and my vocabulary very well. I credit this book to keeping my interest in reading alive during my middle school years, as that was a very tumultuous time in my life. And without these books, I probably would have avoided reading at every cost during that time. Then moving on to my high school years, during my freshman year, I read this book, Catch Every Ball by Reds Hall of Famer Johnny Bench. Now, this book kind of bridges the gap between autobiography and a self-help book, as Johnny talks about his life, his journey to the big leagues, his career, and strategies and mechanisms he used to overcome challenges during his life. This was an important book, not only for my literacy skills at the time, but also for myself as a person, as an individual, because at the time I was able to use strategies I found in this book during my own life. Then over here, to round it out, I've got a set of notes from my junior year of high school and a human anatomy class that I had. The main difference between this and the 4th grade piece is that this is done in print. It is very well organized, and I can tell what it's about even though it's not listed. There's nowhere on this that tells me what class this is from, but just by reading it, I can tell where it's from. Mechanisms of life, metabolism, cranial, ventral. I can see those words. I know what they mean, and I can tell this is from that anatomy class my junior year. With all that being said, these books had a huge impact on my life, as they were able to spark an interest in reading, because I did not have any natural interest in reading when I was in school. By finding these books, I was able to say, oh, okay, so there are books about things that I am interested in. There are books that I could have fun reading. It was a concept that was completely foreign to me before, but after finding books such as these, I was able to get a genuine interest in reading. I actively sought out books like this to read, and as a result of that, I was able to advance my literacy skills significantly. As an educator, I believe that if we can find that underlying interest in reading that students have but may not realize they have, we can unlock that interest and get them to find books that they're interested in, that they will be able to comprehend, and they will be able to advance their literacy skills with. That's everything I had. Thank you for watching.